Demento.
My guest, Weird Al Yankovic. We've said that before. We're going to say it again. My guest, Weird Al Yankovic, and he brought along his brand new album. And more about the amazing cover of that album a little bit later. But first of all, let's say hi.
Hi!
An album called Even Worse. Which relates, of course, to one of the parodies on the album that we're going to play a little bit later. But you're so modest with your album titles. I mean, that fits right in with An Evening Wasted with Tom Lehrer.
Right, if you thought my last album was bad, this one's even worse.
Okay, well, let's get right away to one of the fine songs on this album. Like many of your previous songs, this has to do with food, Italian food in this case. Here's Weird Al Yankovic and Lasagna. I can taste it now. Weird Al Yankovic and his accordion with Lasagna from his latest album, Even Worse. Al is my guest on the Dr. Demento Show. Good one there.
Thank you, Doctor. You know, I'm a quarter Italian, so I just figured that, I should have something that represented part of my heritage there.
Another food bit.
Yep, sorry, Doctor. Can't get away from it.
What I'd like to know is, with your lifelong fascination with food, how come you are still quite slim and trim? Do you have an exercise program?
Yeah, I like to do this. And this at least 5 times a day. Kind of wears me out, though.
It's the theater of the mind. Well, it's always good to hear your accordion. You were the first rock and roller who played the accordion, really, that amounted to anything that I ever heard of back when you first did Another One Rides the Bus in My Bologna and so on. But now everybody's using an accordion. Even John Cougar Mellencamp's using an accordion now.
Right, Bruce Springsteen, Talking Heads. You can't really go anywhere without hearing accordion music, and, well, I feel in part responsible for it.
Oh, yeah? You think you did inspire them all?
Yeah, it's not like they stole it from me or anything, but I've always known that accordion music would take over the world eventually, and I was glad to be a catalyst in that movement. But I have to be very careful because, there's only one accordion song on this album because you have to be careful of a accordion backlash. You know what happened to disco in the late 70s, and I just couldn't bear to see that happening to the accordion.
Really? So that's the reason that you kind of ration us. You only favor us with one little precious cut of accordion on each album.
That's right, because it's so easy to OD on accordion music.
Congratulations on the cover of Keyboard Magazine, by the way.
Thank you.
I can't let that go by. You've got some great parodies and also some great originals on this album. So without further ado, I'd like to kind of throw on one of the originals. And this is kind of the melodic side of your work, I think. This song called Good Old Days.
Right. This is pretty much the kind of song I think would happen if Charlie Manson and James Taylor ever sat down and wrote a song together.
Okay. Weird Al Yankovic. Good Old Days, the melodic side of Weird Al Yankovic. He's my guest on the Dr. Demento Show. Did you ever think of doing any, straight songs, without any weirdness in them at all, just to see if you could do it?
I could probably write straight instrumentals, but I couldn't force myself to write serious lyrics. I've been asked by a few people to write some serious lyrics for them, and they always wind up warped somehow, so I guess I'm demented forever.
Weird Al, when you're just at home by yourself, or maybe with a special companion, what do you put on the stereo?
Well, lately I've been listening to some strange things. I've been listening to old Italian folk music and ballads, mostly for research for Lasagna. And probably my favorite album right now is Sound Effects Volume 4. I've been listening to that a lot. I particularly like the pigs and the chicken squawk.
Oh, yes. They're coming out with sound effects CDs now.
That's right.
Hear them digitally.
And holographically.
Yes. Recently, we had the Grammy Awards. You were nominated for the 3rd time. I, of course, groaned and threw things around the room when I saw that you did not win, but still it was an honor.
Imagine how Jackie Mason must have felt.
Oh, yes, right after he did that 5-minute monologue. And some people were ready to throw things at him even before, But anyway, we saw you looking at the camera at one point, and you seemed to be having a good time. Was it fun there?
I waved at you, Doctor. Did you see me?
Yes.
Yeah, it was great. I got to meet a lot of people that I'd never met before. I got to finally meet Joan Jett. Got to finally meet Billy Joel, which was quite a treat. I was really nervous about it because I'd never met him before, and I did have that song out that you'd played several years ago called It's Still Billy Joel to Me, which was somewhat less than complimentary, so I wasn't sure exactly how to approach him on it, but I introduced myself and apologized for it, and he was very nice, very gracious.
He didn't hold any hard feelings then?
No, he said he thought it was funny, and Christy Brinkley slugged me in the mouth, but no, just kidding.
Weird Al Yankovic, my guest on the Dr. Demento Show. We'll be right back. I'm Dr. Demento, my very special guest, Weird Al Yankovic. We've had you in here dozens of times, but each time you bring new things to discover, and this time it's a very fine new album called Even Worse. You're so modest. Let's play another song from it.
Okay.
This one has to do with divorce and its aftermath. So how did you come to write this song called Alimony?
Well, it just seemed to spring out from my cranium one day. I've never been divorced or even married or even engaged, but I thought that this kind of fit with Mony Mony, and Billy Idol seemed kind of angry when he sang the song, so it all kind of fit together.
Okay, let's listen. Weird Al Yankovic and Alimony. Weird Al Yankovic and Alimony. He's my guest on the Dr. Demento show, and that's a cut from his album Even Worse. Did you ever happen to go to a disco or something, or a dance where they played the Billy Idol version of that? You see what they do when that song is played?
Something involving screaming obscenities? Is
Yes.
that? Yeah.
But you kind of came up with a different alternative so that we could play it on the radio.
That's right. Just for you, Doctor.
I do appreciate that. I mean, there's so many other talented comedians who persist in playing things that are very funny, but I either can't play them at all or I have to spend all night putting beeps in, but not you.
No problem. Anytime.
Have you ever been tempted to throw in something a little bit, any four-letter words? Do you, in your bedroom when you're making up songs, do you ever think of something nasty and then have to kind of ease it down a little bit later?
Well, the ideas cross my mind, I have to admit, but I kind of like to, as you said, there are a lot of comedians that do that, and a lot of people admire the fact that I don't use that in my work, in my records, so I like to keep it fairly clean.
So you've never been bothered then by the PMRC?
Not yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I want to just cross that line just a little bit, because I'd like them to be against me.
You really would?
I want to be on the other side.
Okay. Have you ever thought of running for president?
Well, I was president of the volcano worshippers in high school. But that was about it. I have really no desire to rule the country or the world or the universe.
But why not? I mean, some of the candidates this year were, when there were still 7 of them, referred to as the 7 dwarfs. We need a superstar.
Yeah, maybe Department of the Interior, or, I don't know, just not the president. I don't know. It's too much responsibility, too many political cartoons.
But we need a superstar. We need somebody.
Well, okay, I'll run for president. Jeez, Doctor, fine, okay.
I was just trying to recruit you for the Demented Party.
Okay, fine.
We had the nominations last week and had Alvin and Snoopy and all that, but I think you would really be the man.
Then I'll have to do it.
Okay. But would your administration be scandal-free? Do you have skeletons in your closet? We need to know that.
There was that time with the cantaloupe and the antelope and the Boy Scout troop. I don't even want to think about it. It was part of my past.
Well, you brought another record along. This is very curious-looking 45 RPM record here. I've seen it before, but only once, and I don't think I've heard it in a long time. Why did you just tell the people about this record.
Well, by way of explanation, my drummer Bermuda Schwartz had to play in several other bands and take on other jobs in the early days of our career, and one of the people he played with was a child actor who was also an Elvis impersonator, apparently, by the name of Nico Princely. And he put out this 45 a few years back. He's probably in his mid-teens by now, I'd think. But he did this version of Love Me Tender, which I think is probably the definitive version of the song. I think a lot more emotion went into the song than the Elvis Presley version, and I think it is my favorite. This is Love Me Tender by Nico Princely.
Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I love you so. Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will.
Oh, that is beautiful. Weird Al.
Oh, it gets to me every time.
Oh, yes, gives me goosebumps. And that's, what's his name again?
Nico Princely.
Okay. Al, we've enjoyed your appearances on MTV with your Al TV special several times in the past few years. Are you going to do another one soon?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe in a couple days. You might want to watch MTV for the next couple days, because I just might take over with my pirate satellite broadcast system and play all the videos I want to watch.
Really? Well, I had fun being on MTV myself, so it's you were kind of my inspiration and my
thanks.
hero for putting together my own little show on April Fool's Day. Is your 3D/stupid/polka band still going strong?
Still going strong, same guys, and they had a great time in the studio, and we're gearing up to do something else soon, I'm sure.
Think you'll be doing a tour this summer?
That's still a big question mark. We'd like to. I think probably if we do a tour, it'll just be for the month of June, because there's talk of me doing a feature movie over the summer at some point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A feature film.
Yeah.
Just imagine a 30-foot tall Al on my local drive-in movie screen.
I can't even believe it.
That ought to be something to behold.
Whew.
So, can you give us any more details about what that's going to be?
Well, it'll probably be about an hour and a half long, I would think, in color. And the credits will be at the end.
Okay, I think it's about time we got to the single from the new album, Even Worse.
I can't wait. I wonder what it is.
I know what it is.
Tell me!
Well, it's another food song, except it's more about the effects of food, the after effects of food.
Oh.
And there it is, Weird Al Yankovic with Fat, and that's the new single
Yay!
from the album Even Worse.
I get it now!
Well, Weird Al, it's been great having you here, and best of luck with your album Even Worse. We love it.
Thank you.
And we'll be playing more of it in the future. Hope to see you on the road.
Okay.
Don't forget to stay demented!